It's the biggest motorsport race of the year, the Indianapolis 500. We are so excited to get this race here, our first oval ever in IndyCar, which of course is a bit intimidating for myself. Kyle Larson as well, making his IndyCar debut here in the Indy 500. Excited to see what the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series champion is going to be able to accomplish now. Defending race winner from last episode, Alex Palou, he was able to pick up that win at the Indianapolis road course, leading us into, of course, the hype for this big Indy 500. Palou seeking that first 500 win, of course. What can he do this weekend? And like I said already, you know, my first ever oval in IndyCar, so it's a bit intimidating that the first oval of the season is the Indy 500. Of course, you're just kind of thrown into the deep end and you're just forced to figure it out here. Now, unfortunately, you know, in iRacing, there's limitations, so we don't have, like, the real qualifying system for the Indy 500, so nobody's going to be going home. We don't have the 3-wide start either, but other than that, I mean, you know, we're here to do this Indianapolis 500. It's a 70-lap race here. Of course, the real race is 200 laps, but immediately getting some experience around other cars now, and I'm very curious to see, you know, how is this going to go. I think that this is going to be the most vulnerable we're going to be this season. Of course, ovals are quite chaotic, and we saw it immediately in practice. Colton Herta and Graham Rahal come together. Rahal slammed into the barrier, destroys his car. It's been a rough start to the season for Rahal, and it carries over into practice now, as it was day over for him. Jack Carvey was actually at the top of the board. Kyle Larson there a little bit further down the order. Myself not with a great lap either, as we were focusing in on qualifying here, and it's pretty simple. I mean, there's no really tips to give when it comes to racing around this track on your own. It's full throttle, and you just hook this car up on the inside. We start our official qualifying lap for the Indy 500. You want to get this thing down below the white line, but I couldn't quite do it there, and actually had to lift on the exit of turn 1 to make sure I didn't plow into the wall. Colton Herta, at the end of the first of 2 laps, goes top of the board, but this lap is a waste, and again into turn 3, same situation, really having to be cautious on the exit there, had to back out of it, so it's all about lap 2. What can we do on the second lap, as we would kick that lap off, so it's going to be dead last here on the first lap here. Now, as we go down through turn 1, we get the left sides hooked up there on the inside, just below that white line, as I'm honestly still not very confident in this car so far. Pato O'Ward again to the top of the board, now looking for his second pole of the season as we roll through 3 and 4. Are we even going to be close to these guys? Look how close those timings are. It really can't get much closer than that now, as we exit turn 4 down this front straightaway into the line. What is it going to be? Currently 28th of 28. It's going to end 28th of 28. We are very slow, as we are 0.4 of a second off, but look at every other car. 1st through 27th is less than 1/10 of a second apart. A 39.759 for 27th, a 39.708 for the pole of Pato O'Ward. How about that, as we shift our focus into the big race? It's time to go racing for this Indianapolis 500.
Okay, bud. Not a great effort in qualifying. Play it safe here. I think our car will be really good in race trim.
Yeah, 10-4. Let's have a safe day, guys. Anything can happen here, so let's just try and keep it in one piece and make it to the end. I think we've got a good car for race trim, but obviously only time is going to tell.
We've waited all year for this race, the Indianapolis 500. Such a prestigious race that will solidify someone's career today.
You want to win this race so bad as a driver, Lee. Unfortunately, I was never able to pull it off.
Watch out for Kyle Larson today as he starts the double here in his first ever IndyCar race. Let's go racing.
Ready to go. Pato O'Ward, Kyle Kirkwood, your front row. The pace car is going to pull off. There he goes to the left side, and we are officially ready to get racing and get the biggest race in motorsports underway. Pato O'Ward leads the field to the green. McLaren at the top, but the rest of his McLaren teammates all in the bottom part of the grid, with Rossi as well as Malukas and, of course, a temporary teammate Kyle Larson, who competes in the double now, as it's an early lead there. That's Renus VK in the second now. Kirkwood side by side with Colton Herta, who washes up there on the exit of turn 2. He backs out of it. Everybody in the back here, side by side, 2 by 2 down this back straightaway. Kirkwood back to second place there, and he's already putting pressure on O'Ward. He'll go to the inside. Of course, last year, Kirkwood out of this race late in dramatic fashion, if you remember that big crash, but he maintains P2. O'Ward stays in front. Scott Dixon far down the grid right here, still trying to get back to Indy 500 victory lane now. As you can see, I myself get ahead of David Malukas as well as Santino Ferrucci on this opening lap of this race. Directly behind the McLaren duo, Larson just in front of me on the left side of him. That's Alexander Rossi now as we go through this first couple of corners now on this circuit, just playing it safe. You can see everyone just clumped here together, really slowing up, just trying to not get myself into trouble. Here comes Malukas to my right side. We're checking up in front of us there, right on the back of Rossi here. Now comes Santino Ferrucci. Now we're going to drop all the way back to the last position once again, but I'm not too concerned. We got a lot of racing here now as we head down into turn number 3, and now we just kind of let things settle out. I saw smoke ahead crash. That's Malukas into the wall. More cars crashing on the outside. I believe that might have been yes, it is Scott McLaughlin, as well as who is that, Stingray Rob? He actually went airborne. The caution is out on just lap 2 of this race here in the Indy 500. A chaotic, wild start showcasing the dangers of this race. Scott McLaughlin, he actually has contact right there with teammates. Willpower into the outside while he goes, and in the background Malukas, it was all on his own, but here's Stingray Rob coming into the picture and actually goes over top of the rookie of Kiffin Simpson. And Malukas, a similar situation, they're all reacting, and Larson, his teammate, actually puts him into the wall, and it's day over for those 3 drivers already. Rob, McLaughlin, who's had a rough start to the season, and Malukas, your Long Beach winner, all out. So the caution out early, which also means nobody's going to pit, so we're going to get ready to go back racing. And now, while we have a minute to calm down, a fuel window here, you can take the fuel about 25-ish laps. So we're going to have to make 2 pit stops no matter what the situation is here today. Usually it's 1, today 2 stop race here now as we're ready to get back racing now. So it's already been a chaotic start, and we have a bit of a slow start here. Kiffin Simpson had gotten his car repaired. He's up my inside, but Pato O'Ward is gone down into turn number 1 with Kirkwood once again right behind him. These restarts, this is where the leader's really going to be vulnerable on the racing track here today now, especially on the run down towards turn number 3. But of course, single file restarts from this point on, it should calm things down quite a bit compared to what we just saw on the original start. Kirkwood again up the inside into turn number 3. A lot of racing here in this race. 70 laps total, nearly contact for the lead. Herta third, VK in fourth, as Renus VK has had a fairly competitive few races here recently. We're side by side again with Ferrucci in front. That's Larson going alongside my teammate, actually, a Felix Rosenquist. Now Rosenquist comes in atop of the point standings here. He's had a heck of a season so far, but now up the inside of the McLaren of Kyle Larson. This is a battle for 21st, 22nd here on the inside of him. This is where it's hard to pass. It's very hard to keep this car hooked up on the inside without washing up the track, and you saw it right there. Rossi goes backwards now, and now I'm trying to get up to the top. There we go, around the outside of Rossi, but now you can see Larson continuing to go at it up here. Now contact between Larson and our teammate of Rosenquist, who bounces off the wall. Somehow he avoids any damage and he keeps in it now, but we get the position for the time being. What a bunch of chaos we are seeing so far in these opening laps of this Indianapolis 500, coming to just now start lap 8 again up the inside of Santino Ferrucci into turn number 1. Larson's gonna stick it to the top, and he's gonna pass a 6-time champion of Scott Dixon. Larson has come to play, really. I mean, he had a horrendous qualifying effort like myself, but now, oh my goodness, some of these cars are really struggling, Scott Dixon being one of them, and I backed out of it so hard right there that we lose 3 positions. Rossi as well as Marcus Ericsson all go by. Something's wrong with Scott Dixon. He is struggling. We would breeze past him. We now put it to the outside. We're going to be able to pass Ericsson. This puts us into P22. Next up is Rossi. These McLarens, aside from O'Ward and Larson, not looking very good. Of course, Malukas, though, being out of the race already now, but we would actually get to the back of our teammate, Felix Rosenquist, and our race engineer is going to come over the radio with a bit of advice.
Okay, stay behind Felix for a bit here. He can help you learn a thing or two.
So we're going to stay behind our teammate of Rosenquist and see if he can kind of help us through the grid. And immediately we pass Ferrucci alongside. Now he goes with Christian Lundgaard, and we're going to follow through as well. So I'm just kind of letting Rosenquist lead the way for me. We've now moved into the top 20. It took us 10 laps to get into the top 20 as we're on the inside of Christian Lundgaard as he continues to hang on that right rear. Now it's really, like I said, hard to pass on this inside, but we get the job done there. So that will put us now into 19th place, and continuing to follow, there goes Graham Rahal backwards now, so we will go around the outside. Of course, when it comes to ovals, there is no two different tire compounds. We're just on the primary black wall tire the whole race, so it's very simple. You don't need to switch tire compounds. Of course, we will be switching tires, however. Now, Rosenquist would actually kind of stall out right here behind Canapino, so we would just kind of settle in for a few moments and get our bearings about. You see at the top of the board, at the top of the screen, Kyle Larson up to 14th place. He is having a successful run, but it's a Ward 2.4 seconds ahead of Kyle Kirkwood. Now on the inside, here we go, looking for an overtake on our teammate now of Rosenquist, who's just outside the top 15, not showcasing the pace you would expect from a point leader. Now, as you can see, a checkup in turn 2, looking vulnerable in that number 60 for this Meyer-Shank team. We go to the outside, and we of course struggled in qualifying, but it really does seem like we have a really good race pace in this car, and now we go to the outside using what we learned from watching him, and we'll pass him around the outside now through turn 3, and we can focus in on Canapino and try to move up into the 16th position. Larson up there is having some battles as well. That's Will Power he's going at it with for that 14th position. We go all the way to the inside right there at the line. We're going to be ahead of Canapino, but he would stick on our right side here through turn 1. Will Power now just in front. He's falling back, so this battle would continue with Canapino back to the front straightaway, coming to lap 16 at this point now as we continue wheel to wheel, and we would get past him. I really sent it into turn 1 to get the job done, and we make sure that we get it done and not hit the wall as well. If you send it on the inside, you got to be ready to back out of it, even when there's not a car on your outside like that. But when there's a car on your outside, good luck going full throttle on the inside, you know, in any corner really. Now as we're going to try and go for the overtake on Will Power. Now he's going to hang on that right rear again. The Penske group not looking great outside of Joseph Newgarden, and of course one of their drivers is already out with McLaughlin. We get ahead of Power there, who had that contact with McLaughlin. So now Kyle Larson, you're next. We have managed to get into the top 15, and now we'll go up the inside of the McLaren and Hendrick Motorsports driver on the NASCAR side, and actually we easily clear Larson into turn number 3, so we'll take that position and just continue to move forward into 14th place at this point. Now we're on lap 18 of 70, so the pit window is going to be open here relatively soon. Like I said, you can go to about 25 laps, but that's stretching it, so you're probably not going to see anybody go to actual lap 25 here, probably anywhere between 20-23, somewhere in that area. But we continue moving forward now to the inside. Here we go of Jack Harvey. I mean, this car is on rails in race trim. We complete another pass. Of course, we're coming off of 2 back-to-back top 10s in our IndyCar season. It's been really, really awesome to just have this run that we've had going here recently now. But yeah, we get the job done there on Jack Harvey. That will move us through into the 12th position. And now we'll try to run down. That's Colin Braun in front of us in the number 51, having a really solid run. Still 51 laps to go as well. Speaking of car, 51, lap 20 at this point. Now here we go to the outside. That puts us into P11 as we continue on this charge through. Of course, if you remember last episode, a little bit of drama with Joseph Newgarden, actually with some late race contact, and Newgarden was not thrilled about a rookie getting the elbows out on him. I felt like it was a self-defense kind of thing. You see the quote on the screen with what Newgarden had to say. He was not happy, to say the least, but I thought it was okay. As we go up the inside of Linus Lundqvist, the question is, will we get into a battle with Newgarden, who's running up inside the top 5 right now? This is a pass here to put us into the top 10. Can we complete it? How about Pietro Fittipaldi as well, running up there in front of us in the 9th position? Another solid run here for a driver we haven't seen running in the top 10 a lot this season. As we continue on the inside of Lundqvist, of course, fellow rookie. Can we clear him on the exit of turn 4? The answer is yes. Thank you very much. launch now. Let's go get that slipstream from Fittipaldi inside the top 10. Marcus Armstrong for that Chip Ganassi team, having a strong run so far. But it's VK, Herta, Newgarden in your top 5, Grosjean, Palou 6th and 7th now, as we have run down Fittipaldi. This is for 9th place. Here we go, up the inside, wheel to wheel, side by side. I think one advantage that we have right now is, as he's going to keep it around the outside, he's going to get back past us. But I think the biggest advantage we have is in the first, I don't know, 15 or so laps, we were really saving tires because we were caught up in so much traffic. We were taking it easy. Tire wear means something here in Indianapolis, even though it's just full throttle racing half the time. You know, tire wear still makes a difference, and we are certainly getting the benefit here today of saving those tires. Look at this. Kiffin Simpson, he was involved in that lap 1 incident. His rear wing was torn off. They fixed it, but clearly he's off the pace because he's a lap down in between the 2 leaders. Kirkwood has run down Pato Award, but he would actually lose some time as he was struggling to get past Kiffin Simpson here. Now the pit window, it's about to open up now. Of course, these leaders could go a few extra laps actually because of the yellow that we had on the second lap of this Grand Prix. So that's going to allow them to stretch it just a little bit further, at least in this opening sequence. But now lap 27, everybody's getting ready to come into the pit lane here. We're going to stay out a little bit extra. I can go just a little bit further right now, so that was kind of my plan. But here comes the leader. Pato Award kicks off the pit cycle. So is Kirkwood going to follow? Yes, and so is Rinus VK. Newgarden and Grosjean both will stay on the track, including myself. We'll stay on track here. Like I said, we're going to go for another additional lap or 2. You can see right in front of us there is Marcus Armstrong coming into the pits as well. So he'll pit alongside all of the leaders here. Now lap 30 of 70. Such a long race here in the Indianapolis 500. Now as we got trouble, that's Colton Herta into the outside wall there. I don't know if that's going to end his race because I don't see the right front wheel knocked off, but you can see he's all out of control. Is there going to be a caution? I don't think so, because the green flag cycle is kicked off, so I think IndyCar is just trying to keep it green. So we'll come into the pits ourselves now at the end of lap 30, but that's going to be a big hit there. Herta, who of course running in the top 5, well, he's going to have to pit for damage repairs, so that's going to take him out of the running, at least for the victory, but I don't think it's going to end his race, like I said. So we get in without any issues, and we will have a 8-second flat pit stop. We'll get back going, but Rasmussen right there in front of us, very unfortunate for Colton Herta. Well-powered pitting now just behind us as well, but we'll rejoin the circuit now, and there you see, I think that was Rinus VK that just went past us there. Alex Palou as well. We actually get out in front of Marcus Armstrong, so we gain a position out of that also. We're going to be, what, I think 8th or so once this all cycles through here, and it will be, of course, Pato Award who's going to cycle through into the lead of this race. There he is out in front. Nice gap right now to Kyle Kirkwood, who runs in that 2nd position. 3rd for Joseph Newgarden as well. Now into the outside wall, that's Grosjean, who's done just the same thing a few moments ago that Colton Herta did, and he's now all out of control. This time though, the caution is actually going to fly. You see us passing Grosjean right there as he's on the inside limping the car around, and the caution would officially come out. So lap 33, after the pit cycle has completed, the IndyCar Series throws the yellow, and now we will stack back up here close together as we run in 6th position. These ovals, they bring some chaos now. Pato Award, absolute dominance in the first about half of this race. We're going to be restarting like right at the halfway point here, but we're up to P6. This car has been fantastic. Kyle Larson still moving up, just keeping his car in one piece. He's up to 12th. Scott Dixon's continuing to struggle, and so is Rossi, Marcus Ericsson as well, and our teammate of Rosenquist currently running in 16th. So Pato Award, it's on him when he wants to go, and there's your answer. We are rolling here behind 5th place of Alex Palou, who seems to really starting to be getting his season turned up a little bit now. Of course, the win last episode, his first win of the season for the 2-time and defending champion of the series. Now we're right on the back of Palou. We got a nice comfortable gap to Marcus Armstrong in the background. As you can see, again, just like the restarts we saw earlier in the race, 2nd place really gets a good run on the leader going into turn number 3. Kirkwood, he's going to look to the inside of Award, but can he complete the pass this time? I don't think he will. And in the background right there, you saw as well Palou and Rinus VK come together right in front of me as I stay behind them both, but Kirkwood was clear nearly for the lead, but not quite, and Newgarden right on the back of both of these guys. Where does he go now as they continue side by side for the lead into turn number 1? Newgarden stays on the inside, Award clear again around the outside, and Newgarden's going to jump up as well, and he's going to try and follow through and get around the outside, and that will put Newgarden in that Penske machine into second place here in this Indianapolis 500. Of course, the defending Indy 500 winner, Joseph Newgarden, that is, as Kyle Larson settling in. You see a lot of battles happening around this circuit now. There's Kyffin Simpson all on his own. As you can see, all these cars clumped together towards the back of the grid, really struggling to work their way forward now. As well, Scott Dixon right there behind. Graham Rahal, contact between Dixon and Rahal again. Graham Rahal's rough season continues, and there's an immediate replay right there. I mean, just going for the same piece of real estate, they come together and somehow they both avoid really picking up damage, but it really clumped them up. We go back to the live shot and look at this pack of cars. If there's going to be a crash, this is exactly where it's going to come from, but somehow they're all keeping it clean and green and in one piece there. Now, as you see Rossi going around the outside of Dixon on the exit of turn 2, a lot of chaos here as we approach lap 40 on the back of Rinus VeeKay, now up the inside of a struggling Rinus VeeKay. Up into the 5th position we go. We'll see you later, Rinus, and now try to follow up to the back of Alex Palou. And again, our car really strong as we have run down Palou really without any issues. Don't know if we have the speed to compete with a Pato Award, a Newgarden, or a Kirkwood, but I do know we have a car capable of a top 5 here today. And now up the inside of Palou into turn 1. He's not going to make it easy in that DHL machine for that Ganassi team. We continue side by side with Palou down this back straightaway again. Lap 41, 30 laps to go in Indianapolis as we continue to try and fight past the defending champ. He's not going to make it easy, saying, hey, if you're going to pass me, you're going to do it on the inside, and it's not going to be easy for you now. I'm going to make it as hard as I can, as he knows he wants to win that first Indy 500, and of course losing a spot to me is just going to make things so much more difficult. But now he leaves himself vulnerable, an opportunity around the outside in turn 3, wheel to wheel with Palou. We get the job done. Into the 4th position we go here in this Indy 500. However, watch that rear view mirror. Palou still close. He's got the slipstream as we head down this front stretch. Now we try to cover him off. He goes high, he goes low, we block both ways, which is a bit of a no-no in IndyCar. Into turn 1, so I let him have the position. I actually pull back, saying, okay, I just did basically 2.5, close to 3 blocks on an oval. You don't do that. So I let him have the spot back because I was confident we could get him again, and we actually clear him on lap 44 before we even hit the apex into turn 3, just getting a nice run down the straightaway. So back into 4th place, but you can see the gap to the cars in front right now. 3.4 to Kirkwood, 5.7 to Newgarden, 8.3 to Pato Award, and the gap really wasn't changing. We finally got to a part where we could just be full throttle all the way around the racetrack, not engaged in any battles, and just focus on lap time. And I wasn't gaining anything, so I think we found where our car has its limit, and that's 4th place here today. I just didn't have anything else than this. I mean, I was maximizing my lap time every lap, at least by myself here, so this is the best I can do. 4th place, and I wasn't closing on anybody. Pato Award all on his own out in front. However, we saw in the first run, that long run, it really seemed to play into the strengths of Kyle Kirkwood, but that was when Kirkwood was in 2nd. Now he's in 4th, and as well, you saw Newgarden up there. There's Rinus VeeKay, Linus Lundqvist, all these guys having top 10 runs. Kyle Larson just out of the top 10, actually on the back right now of Jack Harvey. A really impressive run from Larson in his first ever IndyCar race there, and as well Canapino having a solid run. Colin Braun as well. There's our teammate and point leader, of course, Rosenquist, and you can see Scott Dixon a few spots behind Graham Rahal with Alex Rossi, Ericsson, as well as Ferrucci and Will Power, Kyffin Simpson all the way at the back there. 20 laps to go at this point. Lap 51 underway, and Kyle Kirkwood now 2.8 seconds ahead of us because he's actually dealing with Grosjean, so that's helping me close in a little bit now on Kyle Kirkwood. As caution on the racetrack here with less than 20 laps to go, and it's Alex Palou. Alex Palou's out of the race. You see the right front wheel destroyed, the suspension torn out, and the caution is out, and we'll get a replay here, and it's all on his own. Palou hits the wall all on his own. No cars around him. A huge shunt right there for the Spaniard, and it's going to be, of course, another year of waiting to win the Indianapolis 500 for him. Everybody is into the pit lane because we can make it from this point on. So we were getting ready for the pit window to be open within a few laps time, but this gets us to a safe spot where everybody can make it, so everyone's in, and now that's going to be problematic for us because we are the very first pit stall right here for anybody to enter, and we still got a whole line of cars. If we exit right now, we gotta wait actually, because there we go, the line ends. But if I would have come out in that mess on the inside, we would have had cars turning into us. I did not want to risk that. I would rather keep this car in one piece, but you can see, what is Colton Herta doing? He's checking up everybody behind him, including myself. Look at this. We nearly stopped. This is going to cost us track position. Ward's going to exit in first. Lundqvist, how about him in a second over Kirkwood, and VK Newgarden loses some crucial track position. Harvey makes some big gains, and myself and Larson are together right here, but we dropped some significant track position right here to about 9th or 10th place. It looks like it was P9. Larson behind us in P10 for the restart. So we lose some track position, which is obviously worst case scenario right there. It could have been worse than it was, but it's a 15-lap dash here. Now, Pato Ward has led basically every lap aside from when we had green flag pit stops. He leads the way into turn 1. What is Linus Lundqvist willing to do for that Chip Ganassi Racing team? Kyle Kirkwood as well. We know he's strong. Up the inside immediately into turn 2. Lundqvist going for it. And now that's going to give an opportunity to Kirkwood. Rena's VK, don't count him out. Here he goes up the inside. He's going to go for the 2-for-1 special. What a move from Rena's VK into turn 3. Now he gets alongside a Ward as well to the lead. Rena's VK goes from 4th to 1st in a matter of seconds. Side by side in the back there, as now backwards goes Kyle Kirkwood down to 4th. Again, Newgarden, Harvey 5th and 6th, and a Ward right to the back of VK immediately at the end of this first lap since the restart. But he's not going to make a move. He's going to stay planted in behind VK, as I myself am right on the back of Marcus Armstrong. Now, I played it pretty safe on that lap there. Since the restart, you see some battling in the back, but nobody really going side by side, as now actually car stopped. That's Colton Herta, and no caution. We stay green as he walled himself again, all on his own. A huge impact. They threw a caution for that exact incident briefly just a bit ago with Alex Palou, but this time it's not going to be a yellow. So we continue on, and the battle for the lead is heating up again. A Ward to the back of Rena's VK. Can he get the job done? VK goes to the inside. A Ward to the outside. Here comes Linus Lundqvist again. In the background, Kirkwood, Newgarden right there together, as they might be side by side into turn 3, but it's going to be for second instead. A Ward is struggling on this restart. Now look at all these cars. The top 5 suddenly join up together, but Rena's VK escapes with the lead once again. A Ward maintains P2. Battle in front of myself. Now that's Harvey and Fittipaldi going at it with one another. 14 coming to 13 laps to go. Look at the run we have. We take it to the inside. This is for 8th place. We clear Harvey into turn 1 just about, but he's going to fight back on the outside. Now we continue wheel to wheel there as we head down the short chute to turn number 2. Kyle Larson still inside the top 10. What a run for him, as now you see side by side battles in front of us. We would continue trying to keep the nose up the inside of Harvey on the run. Now down into turn number 3. Fittipaldi staying a couple lanes higher. We clear Harvey through turn 3. We'll take the 8th position, and now look at this. Fittipaldi to the outside of Kyle Kirkwood. We'll swing to the inside ourselves as well. We'll clear Kirkwood, who continues to drop down the order after having a top 3, top 5 car at least all day long. We're now into P6 as we now go to the inside for 5th place here with Fittipaldi. Again, a great run no matter what for Pietro Fittipaldi here, but we clear him as well back into the top 5. Joseph Newgarden, you're next up on the list in 4th place. What can we do with Joseph Newgarden? Now, we had that run in last episode. We know what he had to say about us there. He wasn't a big fan of how we raced him in Indianapolis road course weekend, and now here we go down this back straightaway, lap 62, right to the back of him now in that Penske number 2, and we continue lap 63 down the back straightaway, thinking about it, looking up the inside, going for a move into turn 3, a bit of understeer right there, and that actually makes me wash up, obviously, so we back out of it, but again, to the back, and now to the inside, into turn number 4. Can we get the job done on Newgarden? He is not going to make this easy. He stays ahead briefly again into turn number 1 to start 7 laps to go, looking for that move to get it done, and still cannot quite make it happen. Newgarden is not going to make this easy. He continues to protect the outside, a late lunge into turn 3 again, nearly contact there on his left rear. He stays ahead as I'm desperately trying to complete this pass for 4th, and trying to get on with it to go run down Linus Lundqvist. Award 2.8 seconds ahead as well, but we clear Newgarden into turn 1. We clip that little, I won't call it curbing, but that strip there on the inside, and Newgarden continues to stay with us now, and actually to my outside, Newgarden is on the exit of turn 3. What a battle we're having here as we come to 5 laps to go in this Indianapolis 500. He continues on our right rear, and that would follow into turn number 1. Newgarden is actually going to get back clear on the outside into turn number 2. So we again drop down to 5th, and now he crosses over my nose, throws that dirty air, has to make me back out of it now. It was 5 laps to go, and it's all Rinus VeeKay right now over Pato O'Ward. But Lundqvist in 3rd is fading back, and I am struggling coming to these final now 3 laps. I'm really understeering through every corner and just hoping that these two get engaged in a battle because I got nothing left. And here we go. The battle is engaged. Lundqvist on the top, Newgarden on the bottom, and Lundqvist is able to keep it around the outside and stay ahead, and that left Newgarden vulnerable again, coming to 2 laps to go in this Indy 500. Up the inside of the Penske machine one more time. Can we keep it? Can we maintain? Does it stick contact there between ourselves and Newgarden? This battle that it was heated in the last episode in the closing laps is going to continue again. We nearly chop his nose. He stays just barely at the right rear. We clear him, but he swings back now to the inside. 2 laps to go in the Indy 500. Rinus VeeKay comfortably ahead of Pato O'Ward, and Newgarden just caught me, absolutely standing still, but he slows up into turn 2 up the inside again. We clear him again. Great racing in these closing moments, but now slipstream again for Newgarden, approaching the final lap of this Indy 500, keeping it fair, keeping it aggressive at the same time. We're wheel to wheel. I'm still struggling with understeer at this point now, as I think we just simply pushed the tires too hard, and that's keeping Newgarden's opportunity to put some pressure on me alive. White flag in the air. What a day it's been in this Indianapolis 500. We run 4th. Newgarden trying to get there, but it's not going to be enough. Rinus VeeKay is in total control at this point now. Nearly 3 seconds at this point on O'Ward, but the battle is focused right here. Pietro Fittipaldi right on the back of Newgarden, who's got my slipstream as we head down this back straightaway. Here he goes, looking to my inside one final time through 3 and 4. He gets the job done. He clears us contact on the exit of 3, and as that's happening, Rinus VeeKay down the front straightaway wins the Indianapolis 500. Unbelievable scenes as Pato O'Ward will bring it home in 2nd. We have the draft. We are wheel to wheel again with Newgarden to the line, and we barely get him crossing the stripe for 4th position. Let's go, boys. We'll take it. Awesome stuff. What a day. Unbelievable. 4th place, that's career best here in IndyCar. A little bit of heat after with Newgarden. Wasn't quite happy with how we were going at it there at the end. I just felt like right here, watch this. This is the final lap right here on the exit of turn 3, and he just stomps on the brakes and we run into the back of him. Not a fan of that, but I kept in it, and actually I nearly take the nose off of Fittipaldi, but on the exit of 4, the run we have is massive, and we take it to the inside, and actually a bit of contact right there, and we get him at the line. An unbelievable race here from this Indianapolis Speedway in the 500. It was nice to have a nice, run at the end. Stay green, although it was only 15 laps, but like I said, still, it was nice to have that run there. So, Rinus VeeKay, how about that? That's the story. Rinus VeeKay shows up on the final restart, goes from 4th to 1st in a 1 corner, and is able to hang on to win the Indianapolis 500. You see the rest of the finishing order on your screen. Pato O'Ward has to be disappointed with that one. Through it on the last restart. Now, some big names with good finishes, including Newgarden, but of course, there's some big names that didn't have so very good finishes. Scott Dixon just never seemed to figure it out. Kyle Larson, of course, with a good run there in his IndyCar debut. Rosenquist definitely would like to do better. And at the bottom of the grid, of course, Indianapolis with McLaughlin, Stingray, Robb, David Malukas, a few big names there. McLaughlin, of course, his rough season continues on. That's going to wrap it up for me in the Indianapolis 500 episode. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one where we continue the rest of the season. Have a great day.